Hey nerds, Corgi Butts here. In last episode, Zachary, Ash, and Isabella all hung out and took a break from the whole horror aspect, and we got to know Zachary a little bit more, as well as the friendship and the bonds between them. So I feel like it's gonna pick up again around here, so let's see. The next 2 days rushed by in a blur, altogether leaving a collective mess of work suddenly piling up and a new unexpected acquaintance or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when the local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here, an accusation there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people with them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella, or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, there was rumor— Wait a minute! Did he just say that he looked like a good folks when he literally called him the N-word like a couple days ago? Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. Oh, that must be what Ash is talking about! But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually, it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright, Hannah, herself, though she ain't particularly bad the way the press makes her out to be. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendships is what I least expected from her, but here we are. Although with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a really nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too, if they aren't living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before the thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet print I'm holding on a dry rack and amble over my makeshift dark room to get the last photo from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, a film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this a habit, giving away stuff that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. This exception, however, she did treat me well and was pleasant companion throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject of matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, and plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles. Always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes, Sometimes for people like her, small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing this last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving forward with a familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on a drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before it glows settles and casts a soft light in the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process and call it a night, she's in the photo.
What on earth?
Ah! Her head is gone. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. The area completely smudged, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course, if one neglected enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times actually, so yeah, he doesn't think anything of this. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up with the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
A memory clicks, one curiously thought in the sea of many, and a short yet distant second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. No. A woman. In her 20s, or early 30s maybe? But with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself has already taken a sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion from her body. Bonnie Hand's grip Miss right neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me. But for Miss Wright.
Zach, is something the matter?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself, or the product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such thing to happen. And well, blaming this on usual fatigue and overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part, is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers. The same tiny voice that only mistakes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at the photo, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ear. Someone has to know. Show the photo to Ash. Oh, but Hannah's possessed right now. But if we show Ash, he may be able to help us later on, even though he doesn't believe us now. But Hannah's possessed, so she's gonna kind of be like, oh, this is nothing. Or Hannah might kill us. Or maybe he could save her in, you know, my little ship imagination. Deal with some horror. Deal with some logic. This is tough. I know Ash is just gonna push us aside, but she's possessed now, right? Wait, let's check. What day are we on? I don't even know what day it is. I forgot completely. I have so much done on here. October. No. Okay, some of Hannah's shots from the photo shoot, day before the disordered Zach. Was this? Okay, and this is the party. Okay, this is the party, so she's not possessed yet. Or did he not plan on telling her this very moment? Oh, did we never read Zachary's profile? Oh, well, let's read this real quick. Alright. Birthday, March 20th. Pisces, 31 years old. Height, 6 foot. Occupation, freelance photographer. He's American. Agnostic. Yeah. Diploma in the digital film. He likes pie, photography, filmography, documentaries, cooking, acoustic guitar, and video games. Oh my god, he's my kind of man. Before his parents' death, he lived in New Jersey where his family owned a diner and bakery. He and his older sister were orphaned due to the hate crime, and they were forced to move to England when where their grandparents lived. He had loved cooking and helping out with their old diner, but grew lazy and disinterested after the incident. It did not help that he was one of my few blacks in a predominantly white community at the time. His passion for the visual arts was sparked when he found old Polaroids and home movies from his parents. Freelance helping pay his rent, but the man had long sets of sights on the indie film scene. It was during the creation of his first documentary that a robbery occurred and Ashton was there to investigate. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time led Zachary being placed as a suspect. Oh, but the rookie detective helped him clear his name. Get it, Ash! Hey! Okay. Alright. Oh, we have one here too. I'm just trying to clear this. Okay. So 26, she gets possessed here, but I don't remember at the party him ever talking to her whatsoever. Let's just go with Ash. Let's be safe. Ash will give me a flask for this. He will. A flask, yeah. Turn up. I can already hear that he's going to say about this moment I bring it up. Hell, before he even sees anything, I'll wager. The guy is skeptical though, and it'll take more than my account for him even consider this. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs at the back of your neck and leave you wanting to flee or hide, what he thinks is the least of my concern. I am no hero. That's a title best reserved for someone else. Still, if this helps him change his mind, it's worth a try. Isabella's gone and done the same thing, didn't she? Outside, the sun has yet to rise. I still got a few hours before dawn. Good enough time to mull over how I'll go about this with him. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives a soft click, and the darkness embraces the small closet again. What was new? Did something new happen? Did this go down or something? Doesn't say.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Sometime I wish Ash would make himself easier to find. 24 messages, 13 phone calls, 1 visit to his flat later. I still have no idea which room in the Luxporn he went off to hide under again. The guy has his own place but refuses to stay in it. He has his own phone but doesn't answer any of his calls or give an indecent or indication he's gotten my message. Most of the time he'll just show up on my front door. Sometimes in the middle of the night, complaining how uncomfortable it is to sleep at the back of his car. As if the old couch in my flat is any better. Nothing new from him though, but a bit frustrating really. There's the police precinct, of course. Then again, he's not there most of the time either. And if that's also true for today, he's likely out on another stakeout. There's nothing much to do for me but wait if that's the case.
Let's just hope I'm lucky enough today.
While Luxborn is relatively peaceful, a city boasting a low crime rate, its persistence stays abuzz with activity. Yeah, I figured out what does this. It's my scroller that I accidentally keep touching. As soon as I open the glass front door, the murmurs come out from the people waiting in the lobby welcome room. Officers can occasionally be seen shuffling in and out of the rooms, greeting civilians with casual smiles and a polite nod. Some, though, look a little worse for wear. Like their receptionist, who looked at me with much disdain the moment I arrived. Thankfully, I won't have to deal with him today. Before I can even step in, Ashton's voice, though low, comes from the hallway adjacent to the lobby.
Not even for just 1 minute?
No. The case was dismissed, remember?
You were the one handling that case.
If you want access to those records, you've got to ask Chief. I was taken off it before shit went to hell. Why do you even bother? Even Professor Clark seems to have given up on that.
Well, Never mind, you won't understand.
Right. I know you owe Professor Clark a lot, but the right guy isn't just someone you mess with. They've got the money. Who knows what else gets swept under the rug with them involved?
That takes a special kind of ignorant not to know.
And a smart person to know which boundaries he can't cross. You're a bright guy, you'll figure it out. In any case, I've got to get going. Another missing person case on my hand. Benjamin on the front desk looks like he's about to maul someone after the 4th one yesterday. Murders, people missing, what a time to be alive. Man, I miss the old Luxburn.
You and me both. I'll see ya. Gonna go grab some lunch.
Ash is cute. Not in that picture though. He notices me as soon as he enters the lobby and pauses. Confusion briefly crosses his face until I fish out my phone from my pocket and wave it up. Frowning, he pulls his own mobile out, wordlessly fiddling with it for a few seconds before sighing heavily. There ain't no annoyance. There ain't any annoyance in him when he glances up, though. Only mild exasperation and what might be a hint of amusement.
Stop taking pointers from Isabella. This is gonna get old soon.
At least use your phone properly.
It's an alarm clock, a good note-taking device, a halfway decent camera, and maybe a music player too. If I'm being nice.
Jeez.
What else do I need it for?
Okay.
I don't know, keeping in contact maybe?
No, Zachary. You know what? Next time, get a pigeon, wrap a message around its ankle, and send it. It'll get to him, no doubt. When he merely shrugs, I know I've struck a chord. He's far from holding a piece of technology in contempt, of course. Ash has always been nothing but particularly practical from the start, and technology is useful. Only when he gets too focused on things like a case he's handling, he tends to forget there are other things around him. A little reminder and a nudge in the right direction can get him a long way.
I've got an email on that social media site the girls roped us into joining.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, you've got an account before any of us had one.
For policing purposes? Anyway, why are you here? I thought you have something scheduled today. Or was that yesterday?
That was yesterday. Look, about that, there's something I want you to see.
He stops me with a tap on the shoulder, walks past me straight to the door, and gestures with his head towards their very irked receptionist when I raise my eyebrow and question.
Over lunch. I haven't eaten anything since last night, and Benjamin there doesn't really like loiterers around here.
Wordlessly, I follow after him, but not after sending the poor guy behind the table an apologetic smile. As expected, he takes a seat in the farthest corner of the cafe, a good way from the window, but easily allows a view of who comes and goes. Who is this dude? He acts like he's like the best detective in the world. Secluded enough not to be disturbed by the lunch or rush hour or being overheard by a curious bystander. If I didn't know this is a lunch he invited me to, I would automatically assume I got dragged into another stakeout. I totally feel like I totally messed up who to tell. But I feel like this was a double-edged sword, like I said. Hannah's possessed now. And before then, like, we didn't even, as Hannah, we never even saw Zachary. So he either was gonna see her now, like after she was already possessed, or we're gonna tell her and she's gonna, you know, dismiss it anyways. Which is, I feel like, what Ash is gonna do. I feel like he's gonna completely dismiss this. But maybe, like I said, both of these later on, maybe subconsciously, we'll be able to hear Hannah, you know, and she'll break out of this possession or whatever. Or, subconsciously, Ash, later on down the road, when he starts seeing a bunch of shit go down, he's gonna think like, oh shit, everybody was telling the truth, you know? But, like I said, double-edged sword. After years of knowing him, though, this has simply become one of the many habits I've gotten used to. Food arrives minutes later. Oh, Lord. Please, give me this! A slice of their vegetarian quiche. Ew. Meanwhile, Ashton has opted for a cup of coffee plus a gracious serving of... See, I like Ash.
You having cake for lunch?
He shrugs, then proceeds to dig in without even a hint of remorse. Yo, this is so weeby now that I'm thinking about it. Just like Elle from Death Note. Frankly, it's the last seeing... It's like seeing a child get his Christmas present early.
Don't tell Becca. I'll get an earful.
Fuck you, Becca!
It's just for today.
You should listen to her, though. The kind of work you do, you'll need to eat something other than sweets. I don't want to see you drop dead in front of my apartment again.
I told you, just this once. Have you been hanging out with Becca lately? You're beginning to sound like her.
Nah, just for some recipes. But she has the right to worry, you know? It's like she's taking care of 2 kids. One bitches on sweets, while the other on cup noodles.
Maybe Becca should just mind her own business and let these adults be fucking adults and handle their own shit.
At least Bella knows how to cook.
I wouldn't care if Becca cared about, like, real shit. Like, what was going on with Isabella, what's going on in his life. But she bitches about food and the way they eat so much that it irks me. I fucking hate it.
Hey, I can at least boil something. Wait, that's easy, right? I mean, you just put water in and...
No, don't even think about it. You destroyed your own kitchen once by sticking a pressure cooker on it. I think my sister is a whole lot better than you. And this is coming from someone who has no other choice but to eat her cooking for some time.
To be fair, he genuinely appears offended at the last remark. Hate will be too strong for a word to describe how Sis and him usually interact whenever they're in the same room. Though whatever appropriate word it is, I can say that with most certainty that his feelings mutual for both. Ash thinks he nags too much, while Sis thinks he's a trouble management I should stay away from. They're both technically right on their assets.
How's your sister, by the way? Still bullying white guys?
What should I say? She's married to one. You're the one who started it. Well, I don't want to be mad with. Why would you say such a stupid fucking remark, Ash? Oh my god. Well, get shit on.
You do know she's married to one now.
Okay.
I hope she doesn't end up poisoning him with her cooking.
Oh my lord! This is just so bad!
Pot calling the kettle black?
She can't be better than me.
Actually, she is now. They're planning to start a restaurant sometime in the future.
I was bedridden for days after eating some of the stuff she whipped up. And now you're letting her cook for other people?
Don't exaggerate. It was just for one day, and you're the one who refused to leave your apartment. You should come by, though. Sis gave birth a few days ago. Girl.
Aw.
I've only seen the pictures. But I might visit sometime after everything's settled down. Too many backlogs to go through for now.
No way in hell. She'll just find something to criticize again. Last time, it was Shirley.
He makes the show of being utterly mortified, though I'm quite sure he doesn't mean any of it. He might not say it straight out, but I'm pretty sure he's enjoying the small visits whenever he can. Something about it reminds him of his own family, sort of like making up for the one he never got back after his parents separated. Sore spot, that one topic. One thing he never ever brings up in any conversation if he can help it. And I've seen the need to be the nose, and I've never seen the need to be nosy. There are some wounds you're just not meant to open, and for the both of us, the sentiment goes the same way.
As if you ain't already on a shit list. You're just afraid of her.
In your dreams. But I'll think about it. Can't just drop this thing at the moment.
His change in tone is subtle, but his aggravation over the matter hangs completely palpable in the air.
Still no closer?
The opposite, actually. There's been some slip-ups here and there. Careless mistakes, and let's just say I'm waiting for him to make another one. What about you? How are things in your end?
He's talking about the rights. He has to. Yeah, he has to.
All piled up on top of the other. But I can manage. Still recovering from the expenses for the movie, so the surge in new projects helps. Well, there's this one thing.
The expression on his face grows more puzzled with each photo I spread on the table. There's about 8 of them, all reprints of the same thing. Miss Wright's distorted head on the photo. He takes a minute to go through each, eyeing the prints wearily. The furrow on his brow doesn't ease, even as he gathers all of it into a pile and sets them in one neat stack in front of the heavy sigh.
Hana Wright?
Yeah. How did you...
The locket. She never takes it off.
I told you that locket was gonna come back later!
Evan's family heirloom.
Evan's family heirloom. Something about the rights and this lady, the ghost lady, is intertwining. I really want to know what it is. I won't even think about asking why or how he knows that. See, that basically confirmed that he's following the rights right now. If he's investigating them, he'll likely have already dug up every unimaginable dirt on them, including family history.
Are you done with your work with them?
Yesterday, yeah. That's just a small feature for a magazine. Interviews, photos, standard stuff, nothing big. But see, here's the thing. I don't know how else to put this out there without sounding crazy, but there really is something odd with that place. Remember the letter?
He drags in a breath. See, I knew he was gonna be like, shut up. Reaches up for his nose and pitches it. Like the action alone will help grant him all the patience in the world to continue this conversation.
Please tell me this isn't about that again.
No, Ash, you've got to listen this time.
I am listening, and I can't believe that just came out of your mouth.
Ah!
These are some blurred out photos, and that letter is just a stupid prank. I expected this from Isabella, not you.
But see, in all reality, if I was in like these people's shoes, I'm definitely on the... Oh, hang on. Excuse me. I'm definitely on Ash's side. Because that's just my belief too. Is I don't believe in this stuff and whatnot, so I would have totally thought he was crazy too, and that he was just talking gibberish.
You're the photographer here. I don't see any need to get worked up over this.
I know what you mean, but will you hear me out first?
Ash leans back in his seat and doesn't say anything further. He gestures for me to continue with a wave of hand, impatient clearly on his face. Okay, at least he's listening. Hopefully this will just come back to help us later on. Any other person telling him this, and he'll walk out without batting an eye. Oh, stop! I suppose the only reason he's given me the benefit of the doubt is because we've known each other.
Ash, I don't easily buy into these things as much as you do. Yesterday, though, behind Hana.
He blinks at that, his eyebrows lifting momentarily before settling into a deep frown.
Hana? Since when were you on a first-name basis with the right missus?
Why does that even matter?
I thought you said this was just a gig.
Whoa. His voice stays level, but the accusation in it is as clear as day. It hits a nerve in me somehow, more than the tone usually does. Because I love Zachary and Hana together. I do get where he's coming from, but... Okay, what do I say? It's really just a gig? That's not the point here. I want to stay on Ash's good side. I really do, because let's be honest here. What if Hana does know everything that her husband's doing or whatnot, you know, which she probably maybe does. You know, that doesn't make her any better than her husband. It really doesn't. Especially as she stood by and she doesn't defend Zachary after her husband says all these terrible things. So do I say it's not really, it's just a gig, you know, to try to like push away Hana, you know? Or do I say that's not the point? And maybe piss off Ash? I really don't want to piss off Ash, because he's probably going to be the one to help us with all this crap in the end. Stop! Okay. Where am I at now? Let's see. Ash. Okay, so here's our level. Okay, good! Patient can be a tough thing to summon at times. But we didn't get this far as friends, and if we let our own tempers be the lord of us. That's another thing, though. Let's be in all honest here. Like, I don't see Zachary actually ever ending up with Hana. I like the idea of, you know, he brings Hannah back to being, you know, or the Hannah Evans, you know, back to being who she was. I do like that idea, but maybe they could also just be friends and do that. They won't end up together because he was very, you know, don't do that. You're still, you know, you're married, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, only time can tell what's gonna happen. Even after she gets divorced, or which I see, because I don't fucking see them together unless some weird fucking miracle happens.
Bro, it's really just another freelance work.
He eyes me skeptically. The same stare he reserves for his people he interrogates. I've been on the receiving end of it before, early in our friendship. Years later, he's already gotten unimpressed police look down pat.
And there's nothing going on with me and Miss Hannah. She was just being friendly. Insisted I call her by her first name. That's all.
I wasn't implying any of that. You're not that sort of guy.
I know, but let's just get that out of the way. The just-in-case elephant in the room scenario, aight? She's a married woman, Jesus!
Not with the image she presents in public.
Oh. Stop!
No, but trust me, she ain't any of the things the tabloid writes about her.
Like I read any of those.
I know you don't, but keep it in mind, will you?
Will do. Though I can't promise she'll get off scot-free if she's involved. Man, with how you're acting, it feels like I'm doing a solid for your girlfriend.
Cut that out, will you? And I'm not asking you to.
See, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I think Hannah is probably involved. But yeah, she might not be. She could be completely blind to what her husband is. Because earlier when we were playing her stuff, she just knew her husband. I don't know. Like, her husband would always say that he's off, but he never would tell her anything. So she might not. She'd be completely blind to everything. But she still could fall under, like, some legal things. I don't know. I really don't know.
Besides, what's currently going on here is more important.
Alright, lay it in.
Recounting everything takes the better half of our lunch, but he manages to listen through the entire thing without a snide comment. A feat in itself, actually. At the end of it, Ash merely nods, takes his phone out, and excuses himself. Off to the far corner of the cafe for some privacy, if you can even afford to have such in a place as public like this. He returns in a little while and hands me a small card. Oh, this is the guy we refused to see in the movie theater.
I can't stop you if you're willing to believe in this crap. Give this guy a call. You're better off talking to him than me. He's at the public library now if you want to catch him there. He used to be my professor back in the university.
We should have went to Hannah.
Oh, no, I don't think that's...
Go on. I already gave him a heads up. You know I can't help you out, man.
Well, this was a waste of time. He gives my... What did I expect, though? I feel like both were a waste of times. He gives my arm a tap and walks off, mumbling about checking back on how things are at the precinct. I don't see his face when he leaves, but I know this is how his own little way of helping out despite what he doesn't voice out. All the places it never crosses my mind I end up wandering in a public library today, considering I rarely ever visited. Somehow there's always been a kind of disconnect between me and books in general. Sure, some of them held my attention to the youth during the brief times in our day, and I left it to my own with nothing to do. I went through the whole grand collection, as a matter of fact. Read all of them, twice or thrice even. But they never did hold it for long, much as if it never sticked. Especially after I learned it's simply easier to do myself if I want to learn some stuff. This ain't in the plan in the first place. But after Ashton went through the trouble of contacting the professor, I can't just ignore it. Yeah, I definitely probably wouldn't have shown up, but... Nothing but quiet greets me, though. Not the typical mum one would associate with the library, but one asking into a hush prior to an impending trouble. Or perhaps just overthinking again? I really think I'm just thinking too much about this. This is just a lack of sleep talking. Regardless, apart from a group of students murmuring in a quarter somewhere, the place is free of its usual visitors. All while the footsteps echo in a manner unsettling enough to raise the hairs at the back of my neck. Much to my relief, it doesn't take me long to find him, being the only occupant on his side of the room. Professor Andrew Clark. Say it to... I've never probably met the man, but Ash has spoken highly of him several times. In fact, he is Ash's go-to man when something's troubling him with the case. My steps are unsure as I approach. At any rate, he greets me with a warm smile with his grandson he hasn't seen in a long time.
Ashton's friend, I take it. Zachary. You'll have to forgive this old man if I don't get your name right.
Oh, no, you got it. It's Zach. Zachary Steele, Professor Clark.
He gestures at the empty seat across the table while he returns to his book. The next couple of minutes pass in relative silence as he continued to read and take note from the piles he accumulated on the table. Maybe I should have taken the book first before heading here. But before I can even get far into my head, the professor clicks the book shut and sets atop the stack next to it.
Ashton told me you were hoping to get answers from me. Although I'm not quite sure what I could share, I'll do my best to help.
Of course, there are a lot of things I want to ask. How do we get out of this mess in the first among tens of hundreds of concerns in my head? But in the presence of somebody I barely know, the thoughts won't easily form. He's nothing but patient, however, with enough time to mull over a question finally forms.
Do you believe in the paranormal, Professor?
It's supernatural, actually. Don't worry. It's a common mistake to make. But they really are two different things. The other one deals with what we can't explain at the moment, while the other are things we may not have an explanation to. Here.
He places a couple of papers in front of me, the very same he is writing on earlier. A study of Luxport's supernatural culture in a nutshell.
A friend of mine wrote that a few years ago. He took interest in the city after reading about the stories. I have to agree with him here. Even stories dealing with things you don't see with the naked eye can be rife with culture, and this city thrives on it. Just ask the locals.
Like ghosts, for example.
Among other things. The interpretation has changed over the years, though. Various religions, for example, have their own version. It might not always be a spirit now. It could be a memory, or an imprint, an echo, so to speak. Some are born from curses, even, out of great anger, hatred, or pain. There was this one story. Ah, here it is.
Another book is pulled out from the stack he placed on top of the papers, while he speaks with such passion that it makes me wonder if some part of me believes these to be true. It is interesting, though, even if I'm personally not a fan of such stories. And soon, hours pass without my notice.
In the end, it asked for something to be sacrificed in order to destroy whatever anchors the Wraith.
Oh, shit! Maybe we totally should have seen him in the beginning.
A sad tale, that one. But the simplest grudge can bring the ugliest, even in the kindest person, with some people none the wiser.
That's what I was saying. I don't think this chick is evil. I think it's just she can't help it because of the shit that's going on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just went on.
Nah, it's good. Are you familiar with the Ermengarde Mansion, though?
Of course. That goes without saying. Who hasn't heard of the local legend? Although, word of the mouth is, someone has already bought it.
Ah, yeah. The right couple. It was a close friend who handled that sale.
So I heard. Well, don't think the house being bought by anyone would stop us from talking about it. What is it about the mansion, then?
I just want to ask what you think of it, sir.
We're going to need more than an afternoon for that, young man. You see, it's the kind that has changed over the years, passed down from one person to the next. Sometimes, it's the Lord William who haunts the place. There are versions where it's the lady of the house. But my favorite, a personal favorite, would have to be the ones that followed after the disappearance of the kind daughter.
Wait a minute.
Well, what about these, then?
There's a moment of hesitation on my part before I pull out Miss Wright's photos and lay them on the table in front of him. Unlike Ash, the professor inspects each print with great interest. That gives me some hope, at least.
When were these taken?
Daughter. Missing daughter. And it says that both the woman and the man have haunted the house before. It's interesting.
Just the other day. Do you think those are the same?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. There were certainly instances when the film would pick up what the human eyes weren't able to see. But then, it could also have been human error.
I didn't edit it in any way. You have my word on that, Professor. They all just came out like that.
Then, if it is what you're thinking, I'd strongly advise against doing something reckless and further tangling with them. Accounts about them may be riveting to you, but most of it often ends in an unpleasant manner.
What about those people in the house? If there is something in there, shouldn't they know? I'm sure they're already familiar with the legends, but...
Some people might deserve it, however.
Deserve what, sir?
All of a sudden, the tremendousness of the professor's eyes disappear, his face becoming unreadable. Okay. What? As though catching himself, he hastily clears his throat, gathers his books, and rises from his seat. So he thinks they deserve it, these people. What does this professor know?
Professor?
I'm sorry. I just remembered something I neglected to do.
Oh my goodness, what is he hiding? Unless Ash has told him a bunch of stuff, like he said he talks to him about the cases, so he thinks they're like these terrible, terrible people, which they could be. But I don't know if they deserve this.
You'll have to excuse me, Zachary.
Except the husband, he deserves this.
Alright. Do you need any help with that?
Don't let my looks fool you, son. I can still carry a few hundreds. I've been doing this for years. I'll see you some other time if you have any other questions.
Of course. It was nice knowing you, Professor.
He doesn't hear it, however. In a few short strides, he walks to the library, leaving me and every piece of the whole mess amidst the oppressive stillness. Despite the answer gleaned, more questions surfaced. If there is even a single way out of this, I hope we find it still, soon. The moon is well into the night sky by the time I make it back home. My heavy treads and a sound of traffic outside echoing in my ear, filling the empty room with some semblance of life. Nana would scold me if she ever hears me walk like that, but after today, I really can't give a damn about it and everything. The mattress creaks under the weights as I unceremoniously flop down onto it, and I find myself looking at the paper under the grip. An invitation to request covers an event, the Wrights House warming party, tomorrow evening. If only it were that easy, but It'll give me a chance to talk to her. Oh, but she never does talk to her about that thing in their house. With a sigh, I left my hand fall into the side of the bed along with the invitation. I'll think about it tomorrow when my head ain't muddled with thoughts of Headless Woman and the haunting smiles of the ghost. Belatedly, it occurs to me that the last meal I ate had been with Ashton, and an empty one a gnawing ache makes me feel itself known, but I can't bring myself to stand up. Today was a complete waste of time and frankly disappointment. I don't understand this. The lack of certainty and disquest, the lack of stable ground on the stand, the part of me where I do not know what will come tomorrow. Ever since the damn letter, everything has been thrown out into a loop. I wish everything stayed the same. Routine has been easier to make sense of than this. Closing my eye, I left the noise from my streets below lull me to sleep. At the very least, that's the one thing that hasn't changed. Okay, so it's getting interesting. Now I am glad we went with Ash because we got a little bit more to the story because we saw the professor and stuff. Probably really wouldn't have gotten anywhere with Hannah, maybe, but we'll never know. Well, at least not until maybe I do a second run through, a speed run through. But anyways, I like the episode. I thought it was good. We're picking up. We're getting places. It looks like we're playing another night with Zachary. Hopefully this is the one where he goes to the ball so we can see his point of view and why maybe he never did speak to Hannah, or he did, but because we haven't made our choices yet, they just kind of left that out. But either way, we're getting deeper and deeper into what's going on with the Wrights. We're getting deeper into what's going on with Ash and Zachary. So this is all becoming really, really good. I like it a lot. So I hope you guys will join me in the next episode, and I hope you guys check out my other content as well. Have a great day, guys. Bye!